everybody, it's Cam, and welcome back to another Wizard 101 video. In this video, we're going to be going over all the spells that you can magic weave in the Blending Grove for Death School. So, let's just hop right into it, starting with Balance. Alrighty, first spell that you're going to get from Balance is Tomb Blade, which is a dual 35% blade for both Death and Balance, giving you that extra buff to go ahead and increase your hits. And the damage spell you're going to get from Balance is Desert Banshee. What this does for you is 330 balance damage, plus up to 2 minus 70 healing weaknesses on the opponent per blade that they have. So again, you can do maximum of 2, but can reduce their healing if you are facing a life or someone who likes to heal spam. From Storm, you're going to get Drowned Blade, which is another dual blade spell for plus 45%, Death Blade and Storm Blade. Again, another really good buff spell that you can use to increase the damage on your hits for both PvP and PvE. And the damage spell we're going to get from Storm is Joltergeist, which does 815 storm damage. Well, as it is a gambit spell, so you can gambit 3 negative wards that you've put on the opponent for a negative aura on the opponent that is plus 50% incoming death damage for 2 rounds. So something to put on kind of last minute if you have multiple weaknesses or negative things on the opponent to do damage and then set you up for another Quake hit with a death spell. From Life, we're going to get the dual aura Ghost Amplify, which does plus 30% outgoing damage for both death and life that lasts 4 rounds on you. So another good aura that you can put on yourself to increase your damage, and an extra buff you can have on your spells for both PvP and PvE. And the damage spell you're going to get from Life is Green Blight, which does 430 life damage. It will also clear 3 negative wards off of yourself and turn them into up to 3 minus 55% infections or reduced healing weaknesses on the opponent. So a good healing plus trap counter that you can use on the opponent if you're facing a myth or a life to counter those things that they could do quite often to you. Moving on to Fire, we have Pyre Dragon, which does 525 fire damage, but it also clear up to 3 shields off of the opponent and turn them into 3 30% death blades onto yourself. So a good shield counter along with some damage and buff for yourself on this one. I could see definitely seeing this one being used from death wizards that decide to weave into fire and to shield counter against an ice and turn it into a good counter attack on your end. The damage spell that you're also going to get from death and fire is Ash Draconian, and it does a 2 damage over time is 1 for fire and death, 375, each lasting 4 rounds. Next is Myth, which will give us Extinction Trap, which gives us plus 40% myth and death traps onto the opponent. Again, a lot of these schools are going to give you at least 1 utility spell that can use you to buff your oncoming hits, but this will mainly be used for PvE players. I don't see much people using these in PvP unless they're looking to set up a dual school hit. The damage spell you're going to get from Myth is Bleh the Impaler. What it'll do is 310 myth damage that'll also come back and heal for you, but it'll also be a gambit where you can get rid of 2 weaknesses you put on the opponent and turn it into plus 45% death traps. So this could be a really good spell to 1, get a little bit of heal, and 2, a gambit that you can then set up for a next death hit. Finally, we have Ice, which gives us Freeze Trap, which is a dual trap spell for both ice and death, 40%. Another utility spell that you're going to get from Ice. The damage spell we're going to get from Ice is Grave Chill, which does 720 ice damage, but it can also be a 4 times Gambit for shields that can turn into 50% death traps. So another one to set up another future hit if you're willing to take the Gambit, depending on where you are in the match and if you're willing to make that risk. So that's all the spells that you can weave in the Blended Grove for Death class. Again, let me know what you guys think, what you think is going to work, what you think is not going to work, and how you feel about all the spells coming out recently in this new test realm, and how you think it's going to affect the game. If you do have any suggestions of what you think is going to be best for Death to weave into, leave it in the comments below as well. And if you did enjoy the video, please go ahead and like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys all next time. Peace.